contact and say, hey, I saw that you had hired 2 new salespeople. I wonder if they needed sales navigator licenses as well. He said, yeah, actually they do. So just like that, there are lots of opportune moments here. So the first thing I do want to show you guys is in the top right-hand corner here, under the settings. If you click under your little profile picture icon, you click settings here. It's very important to go in and to set your sales preferences for a few reasons. The sales preferences really curate the experience that you have in Sales Navigator in that it helps to generate the lead recommendations. It escalates any notifications that would appear in your homepage based on your preferences, as well as the email updates that you receive. They're all better curated and tailored by the settings that you set here. So, for example, I know that you guys work in different geographic locations. So, for example, Springfield versus St. Louis versus wherever your location is. I would highly recommend going into these geographies here. Also, I know that there are certain industries that you guys target more than others. So I would highly recommend putting in education or church, things like that, putting in those industries here that you know are ideal prospects for you guys. In any other function, if they're typically a human resources person or if it's typically an admin person, just go ahead and put those functions in there. This doesn't restrict any of the potential generated information or the generated recommendations, but it just escalates the ones that are most imperative or most pertinent to your work. Also here on the sales settings pages, you have your in-mail message information available. And just so you guys know, you have 30 in-mails each month, and they can roll over for up to 3 months. So you can generate, like you see here, I have 90 available because I haven't used my in-mails. Actually, I always get responses, so that's another thing to keep in mind. Every time you get a response to an in-mail, you're credited back an in-mail. So, for example, I've sent maybe about 5 or 6 in-mails this month, and they've all gotten responses. So I've kept a maximum balance. And then, they roll over. You get 30 in-mails roll over for up to 3 months. Are there any questions here on the sales preferences or the in-mail information? No? I'll take the silence as a no. Again, please do feel free to stop me if you have any questions. I don't believe in dumb questions, so please let me know. So in the lead builder here, and you can access the lead builder from any page, not just the settings page. But up here in the top blue bar, the lead builder, this is where you're going to identify your ideal prospect. This is where you are able to dig into the search, where you're able to build a pipeline and qualify your pipeline. So you have a lot of different ways to qualify them based on their current company, their location, their function, all of this, and even your keywords. And also to note, in case you guys are familiar with the term Boolean search, the keyword bar here operates as a Boolean search, which means there are ways to get more specific and granular. For example, you can use quotation marks to get really specific. Let's say you're looking for education administration. And so what this does is that it filters out all people who fall within our 450+ million members with these 2 words tied together in anywhere in their LinkedIn profile. Because if you didn't use the quotes, you would just get education or just administration or education and administration in different order or what have you. So putting the quotes gets really specific. Also, if you wanted to use I'll just take away these quotes. You can use education and administration in caps lock, and so that'll put up it'll generate results for any people who have these 2 words in their profile. They don't have to be in this order, but both of these words must appear. Or you use education or administration, or education not administration. And if you notice, you can see the different results as I put in the information here in the keyword bar. It will generate not only your what filter you put in down here in this gray box, but also will show you how your results change down here. So I do, again, want to make this as workshop style as possible. So could I please have a volunteer to help me paint the picture of your ideal prospect? Zach, I might take on you since you were on the phone first. Okay, great. Thank you.
Got it.
Awesome. awesome. So yeah, go ahead and just throw out whatever information here looks most pertinent to you, be that location or industry, function, keywords, whatever.
Right now I'm getting a message that says unable to connect to clear slide. So I don't know if I'm having...
Oh, you're... Okay. Is anybody else saying that as well?
Yes. Well, it comes and it goes.
Okay. So have you been able to see my screen thus far up to this point?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have. Let's just, I am having some sort of internet issue, so maybe, was that you, Jessica, that said that as well?
Yes, as soon as you said that and she asked, ours flashed, that same thing yours did, but then it went back to her screen, so I don't know.
Oh, technology. LinkedIn never had these problems, so just the internet.
Okay, so maybe are you guys following along in your own Sales Navigator windows as well? Maybe I could try to replicate. And tell you what, I could even start to record on my end right now, just so that we can refer back to this. Hold on just a second. Let me start recording. Okay, looks like I'm recording now. So, okay, well, so instead, are you guys on your Sales Navigator home pages now so that we can go ahead and walk through it together, perhaps?
How do we get to it? We're kind of confused already.
Okay, great. So, I've just now gone back to the home page on Sales Navigator. Are you guys in the home page?
Are we logging in through Salesforce, or do we need to go directly to LinkedIn?
So yeah, so we're going to go back to the LinkedIn. So I'll just go ahead and start over kind of from the navigation process. So go to your LinkedIn.com homepage. And then when you get there, on the top right-hand side, or top right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see Go to Sales Navigator. And let me know when you guys have got there.
Hey, here's the question. So, we all have personal LinkedIn accounts, but Tim, are we using the Salesforce account, or what's the deal here?
So I'll go ahead and start to answer that, Tim. So LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a separate tool built off the platform of LinkedIn.com, but it is built specifically for purposes of sales. So it does integrate with your Salesforce, and you'll be able to see those features later if you guys are able to, or if this clear site connection ever comes apparent for you guys. If not, I can definitely, again, just record this and send it to you. But LinkedIn Sales Navigator is, again, a separate platform built off of LinkedIn. And so once we click to the Sales Navigator, it takes you to a whole new tool that better curates an experience that's built for prospecting, qualifying, account management, things like that.
Right. So, Michael, we're going to want to use your LinkedIn account. Zach, we want to use yours. Derek, we want to use yours. Jessica, we want to use yours. Krista, we want to use yours. So on this demo, you're going to be logged into your LinkedIn account because we're going to link Salesforce with your LinkedIn account, basically. Does that help?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so everyone will just use your existing LinkedIn profile, and then you'll have a new kind of button if he's already subscribed to everybody.
I have.
I believe, right? Yeah, so then you'll just see a new little button up towards the upper right-hand corner of your home screen when you log into your LinkedIn, and it'll say Go to Sales Navigator. That's where all this stuff's happening at. And then later on we'll integrate Salesforce, but I think we have to do that through Salesforce and not through LinkedIn. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and actually, Tim has already gone through the process of starting the integration. So in case it hasn't yet taken place already, I can definitely double check with that. But all of your accounts should be pulling in all of your open opportunities from Salesforce should be pulling in to your Sales Navigator. So just wanted to get a pulse check really quickly. Has most everybody gotten to your LinkedIn Sales Navigator page?
I have.
Did you get it working?
I'm following along with my internet.
Did you get it working, Michael and Talisha?
I've got mine working. Michael's getting his set up now.
Okay. Everybody else in? Derek, are you good?
Okay.
Christy, you good? Jessica, you good?
Tulsa's good. Yes.
You got it, Derek?
Okay, cool.
It's coming up right now. I was facing the account.
Cool. Okay, awesome. So I'll definitely try to be as descriptive as possible with what I'm doing. Again, you will have this training recording to reference after the call is over, but this actually might be great just because you guys will get a very tactile experience in being introduced to the tool. So I'll just briefly go over it again while you guys are now in the tool. Once you're in LinkedIn Sales Navigator, once you've already clicked on that button or just gone immediately to linkedin.com/sales, in the top right-hand corner, you should see your picture icon. And once you hover over it, it drops down to a menu, and the first thing you should see is settings. And so you're just going to click on that. And let me know when you guys have got there and if you see those sales preferences I was talking about as far as geography and industry and company size, all those things.
Does anyone not see it? Derek, you see it?
Well, I'm not. Mine looks like it's just like a super basic account. Like I've never really done anything with mine. Was I missing something I was supposed to do ahead of time?
So if you're not seeing any information, that's fine, just because you haven't saved any information in it yet. So also, again, I'll double check to see if all of this Salesforce information has trickled into Sales Navigator, but it should look pretty blank for a first-time user. That makes sense. So right now we're just going into your settings, like I said, in the top right-hand corner, to go ahead and set those preferences. It's fine if it's completely blank on your home pages because there's no information that has yet been saved into the tool.
You got it, Jessica?
Sorry, I couldn't get off mute. Yes, already set my geographic preferences and stuff.
Awesome.
You got? I think is everybody good?
We don't have it set up. We have it set up under my LinkedIn account, but we can't get it set up under Michael's LinkedIn account.
And I think that makes sense too. I believe, Tim, you had 6 licenses. I believe there are more than 6 people on the call right now. So we can definitely go back and if you guys are able to look off of the same computer or the same screen, and again, Michael, if you want to reference this recording, we could definitely do that as well.
Yeah, if it looks like I see that.
For the sake of time.
Yeah, it looks like Talisha, you took Michael's. So just use Talisha's for now.
And we can go ahead and get you set up at a later time, Michael. So just for the sake of time, I am just going to move on. So from whichever page you're on in Sales Navigator, at the very top in the blue bar, you should see somewhere around the middle something called Lead Builder. And when you click that button, Lead Builder, this is what I was describing just a little bit earlier, as far as basically how we paint the picture of who your ideal prospect is. And this is just a search. So this is kind of like how in regular LinkedIn.com you have the search bar and you just either put in a name or a company or whatever, and then you have a whole bunch of a whole lot of information to sift through once you get the generated results. but this is where you can really fine-tune the information that you're looking for. And so that's when I believe it was Zach or maybe somebody else who said they might go ahead and put in this information with me here. And if you guys want to follow along, please feel free to do so that we can see how different or the same, how different our results are. So Zach, was that you who volunteered to go through the lead builder with me, or was that somebody else?
Yes, that was me, sorry.
Oh, that's fine. So yeah, go ahead and tell me how you would go about finding your prospects.
Yeah, so in keywords, and I'll actually just kind of pull up, I mean, I would put in quotations, human resources. I would add director in quotations.
Okay. So
I would add.
I can see some things that I might do differently just because of the way the tool is set up. So if you want to find human resources and director, you can find those filters here in function and seniority level just below the keyword. So in function, I'm going to scroll down and click out human resources off the little checkbox next to that. And I'll go ahead and click out the quotes for right now. And then also right next to it in seniority level, you might look for a director. You can click out the little director box right there next to it. And again, we can see how it's altering the total results. Again, we have over 450 million members on LinkedIn, but you can see once the little gray box below all of those filters, you can see human resources and director appear there as you click out the filters. And then below that, you can see the amount of results. I have 452,352 total results after clicking out human resources and director. So we're definitely better fine-tuning, but obviously 452,000 people is a big bucket to try to filter through. So where else, is there a certain geography that you would be looking for, Zach?
Yeah, let me ask a question, though. I don't always work with human resource directors. Sometimes I work with, people who are not the director seniority level in human resources. So is this requiring all results to be human resource directors and nobody else?
So that is kind of how the short answer is yes, but by filtering this information, by putting human resources and directors, you've now skinny down the results to anybody who's currently in human resources and is a director. But also, if you wanted to add more filters into this, if typically somebody else you work with is in administration or something else, you can click out those filters too. Like if it's typically a manager or a vice president that you work with, you could click out the manager box and the vice president box under seniority level as well.
Can you explain to me just real quick so I understand why it was not? I don't necessarily always know. People have, titles that are all over the place. So the seniority level designator checkboxes, I don't know if that would be all encompassing in terms of what every possible title might be for a decision maker that I'm looking for. That's kind of traditionally why I don't really go that route, unless I wanted to build can you build multiple pipelines, lead pipelines? Yeah, you can save a search that's just for HR directors, but so maybe we just do that, and then guys, we just realize that we can build multiple saved searches. So one might be real super specific, like HR director, and then the next saved search is maybe a little more broadened to just human resources. I might be inclined to just throw directors and anybody with human resources all in the same search rather than having two lists, but that's making sense now. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was saying I think that's an excellent approach. That's how I go about saving my searches. I have a few that are extremely specific and extremely granular because there's a certain market or bucket that I'm keeping my eye on. But I also have some that are very broad. And then once, for example, this one is just human resources and director, I can go back, or once we hit this search button, we will see later on that you can further filter it down from there if you want to get a little more creative. So definitely would highly recommend making multiple save searches. That's the best way to make the tool work harder for you, for sure.
And then if we wanted to just start looking at geographies, then we could put in Springfield, Missouri area.
Cool.
And I'm battling with my home internet here. I'm going to have to, I keep having to reset my router. But I can kind of.
So I'll be able to follow along.
Yeah, I can still look at what's up and we can type stuff in. So Springfield, Missouri area, and add in Joplin, Missouri area.
Okay. You said Missouri? Okay, cool, got it. All right,
yeah.
Awesome. And so I think that's really great. So now we've got Human Resources Director, Springfield, Missouri, and Joplin, Missouri, and that gives us 521 total results. And I think that's actually a really good set of, or size of a search to look for to begin with. So I'll go ahead and hit search just for the purposes of this all-inclusive search. So there's a handful of things that we want to note on this page, and I do apologize for those of you who are unable to see the screen or are unable to do this yourself. So I'll try to be as depictive as possible, and also, again, you do have this recording to refer to. But as Zach was mentioning, you can save this search. And so when I click Save Search here on the top left-hand side, you can title the search however so you see fit. So, for example, let's say Missouri HR Directors, and you can just and what you can do is set this alert so that you're given a email update with whichever frequency is best for you, either a daily, weekly, monthly, or if you don't want results, you just want to save this search. You would just go ahead and click this green checkbox here. And so with this frequency, or however frequent you set these alerts, you're going to update about a whole bunch of information that will be really relevant as far as a opportune moment to reach out to these contacts. So also here on this first page, we have a lot of really up here. We have 521 total results. You have 11 people who are highlighted here who have changed jobs in the last 90 days. And the reason that's important is because you could reach out to these 11 people. I'll just click on this tab here. I could reach out to any of these people and say, hey, congratulations on the new job. You know, and it's a really great time to reach out to people because oftentimes when people are in a new role, they're starting a whole bunch of initiatives and, you know, they really want to prove their value. Well, for you guys, if you know that they're in the capacity of team building or something like that, now might be a good time for you to reach out to them. Also, we have something called Team Link with Sales Navigator. So when I click on these 26 leads with Team Link intros, we see that all of these people are contacts who we can reach out to one of your team members to get an introduction. So, for example, when I click on Team Link here, I see these 4 people are people that I work with here at LinkedIn. So I could reach out to them and say, hey, Andrew, or hey, Kelly, I'm really trying to reach out to Jason Crow here. I was wondering if you could make an introduction for me or if you would mind if I were to drop your name in an email, something like that. Also, right next to that, we have people who are mentioned in the news in the last 30 days. That's also a really opportune moment just because if they've been mentioned in the news, you could reach out to say congratulations or, hey, I saw that this was really interesting about X, Y, Z, whatever. So also, while we're on this page, we see here LinkedIn member. It doesn't just display their name and their picture, but rather it just gives you LinkedIn member. And so what that means is that if they are outside of your third-degree connection, what LinkedIn does is hide their information unless you have a Sales Navigator account. And so what you can do with that is unlock up to 25 profiles per month. So people who would usually be made invisible to you, you are able to make visible their information. And so, for example, I would just click on this little profile of theirs, and then you unlock the full profile here. And it looks like the Director of Public Relations Marketing position at this hospital. When I click Unlock Profile, all of his information, his full profile would now be made visible to you, and you would need to unlock it again ever. His information will always be available to you. So I'll hit back. And then there are more spotlights available, or these highlights. So you also have 49 people who have posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days, which is really great because it lets you know that they're active on LinkedIn. So, for example, if you didn't have their phone number or their email address, you know that they're typically on LinkedIn, so sending an email might be a good idea. And then also people who follow your company. That's also a really opportune moment because obviously they're interested in your company or what they do. So I'll go back to these total results here. And again, like Zach was mentioning, if you do have a really large search, let's say, for example, you have that 405,000 search results available, but that's just how you want to start it, that's fine. You could just go ahead and do that search. And then you can filter more information here. So, for example, you have all of the same filters available as in the lead builder, like geography, what industry, what company they're with. But you can definitely get more granular here. And then also at the bottom, you have the view all filters. And then you have a whole bunch of available filters. For example, what profile language, what they're interested in, where their headquarters are, how long they've been a member on LinkedIn, et cetera, and so on. So now I would like to just go into, is it still the case that nobody's able to see my screen? I do want to just double check. Or is anybody following along and have any questions or comments about the sales spotlights or those filters or any of the results that they're getting?
I can see perfectly fine. This is Tim. I got a question about the team, what is it called? The team link, the team introduction?
Team link.
So for that to work, if I understand correctly, that means we can see leads, and then I could also, if I click Team Link, that's going to show me anyone that works for America's Incredible Pizza Company that's connected to that person. Is that right?
Anybody who is on your Sales Navigator licenses. So all across these 6 people who are license holders currently, their connections will be made visible to you.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so if another ESM is connected, then we're going to see it. Okay, that helps. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, no problem. Are there any other questions? No? Okay, so what I'll do for now, and again, I hope you guys are able to follow along. The next thing I'm going to do is just click on one of the profiles of the people that came up in the results. So the first person in my results is Jason Crow from O'Reilly Auto Parts. So let me actually see if there's somebody else that might be more, somebody who might be more a part of who we're looking for. And actually, really quickly, I'm just going to see, I'll push out another keyword, or maybe I'll do another industry. I'll click out education, since I know that oftentimes schools are people with whom you guys work. Let's see. Education management. Or I could even do, primary and secondary education as well. So that changed my results to 36 total people. So it looks like Alyssa here is the Director of Learning and Development. We also have a Director of Secondary Learning. So I'll just go ahead and click on Dave here, who's a Director of Secondary Learning at Springfield, Missouri Public Schools. So there's a handful of things to note here on this profile. So we have, this is so important, this is really awesome, lead recommendations. I use this all of the time. Because the sales process nowadays, more often than not, and I'm sure you guys can attest to this too, more than one decision maker is typically involved in the sale. You typically have to have your point of contact and their boss and whatever organization they work hand in hand with. They need them to sign off on any purchase decision, or if it's a big event especially. So you would want to look at these people who are any recommendations, because the algorithm kind of generates these people based on their connectedness with Dave, based on his organization within his company, obviously his company first and foremost, but also his organization within his company, any keywords that are common within his profile, for example, director, so she's also another director, and also that was in the search that we generated. So maybe if, one thing to do is definitely save these people as a lead. I would say after this training, I would highly recommend going in and saving at least 20 people as leads, just so that you can begin to make the tool work for you. So let's say, for example, I were to save him as a lead by clicking this button. And maybe I would also want to save Kathy Gross here. I would save her as a lead, and maybe even Karen Christie, who's a principal, I would save her as a lead. So you just click those buttons, and then we'll see them later when we go to the save lead. So lead recommendations, highly recommend taking advantage of those. And then also, if you have a team link, it would appear here on the right-hand side. And then everything else is pretty standard to your typical LinkedIn.com experience. So one thing that I would recommend doing also is, once you're on a profile of somebody who looks like they might be a good lead for you, I'll definitely go to their company page as well. So, and you can do that by clicking the little picture icon in their experience. So he's Director of Secondary Learning at Springfield, Missouri Public Schools. I'll click on this icon here that is the tile for Springfield Public Schools. So I'll click on this. And it takes me to the account page. And And so as you can see here in my lead recommendations, it's interesting. My page says that there aren't any leads that match your sales preferences. And again, this is just highlights the importance of setting your sales preferences just because this is where the tool is able to work for you. So for example, if I had education or the Missouri area in my sales preferences, more leads would be recommended here. It also shows how I'm connected, what people I know just within my LinkedIn.com network who could make an introduction for me, and it would highlight any TeamLink connections on this page as well. So also you can see just different things of where they're mentioned in the news. This is interesting. There's I guess Springfield, Missouri Public Schools is mentioned in this article here about schools receive requests for active school safety club. Very interesting. So that might be something you could reach out to people about. I know this is a Christian-based organization, so there might be an opportunity there to reach out and say, hey, I know that, there are certain niches going on. We also want to make sure that we're reinforcing some other values, what have you, what have you. And so also good to read through just to see if this company has been mentioned, or the school rather has been mentioned in the news, just so you know what's going on with them, what things might be important to them. And also reading through their information so that you're well aware of other things that might be important to them or what organizational changes have been made recently. So I would go ahead and save Springfield Missouri Public Schools. I would save that as an account here just by clicking this button. And so then I would go to my account page to see where it's been saved. I didn't hit save, but if I did, it would be here. And so, for example, you guys pop up here in my saved accounts because you're now one of my accounts. And so I've saved 5 leads. I've saved 5 people there, and they're mostly people, you guys, who have licenses because I want to make sure I'm aware if you're sharing things. I want to make sure I know that you guys are using the tool and things like that. But that's just in the context of how I would use this tool. So, for example, all these people, all these accounts here are accounts of mine, and I have saved them, or saved these accounts and saved leads so that I can be aware of either opportunities, be aware of activity, and just make sure I know what's going on in my book of business. Then also you go to your saved leads, and you can see all the people that you saved. And then also you can see those same sales spotlights, just like when you do a lead builder search. And then also like a lead builder search, you can see more filters. And I think these are important to use. So for let's say for example, for you guys in the Tulsa area, let's say you're going to make a day trip over to Oklahoma City. And so you would go ahead and click out a geography and maybe put out Oklahoma City to see if there are any of your contacts who are there so that maybe you can meet with them for the day. Or, for example, if you're, doing a campaign or you have a special, advertisement or special sale going on for schools, you might want to go into your industry and put in education here in this filter. And so then you can reach out to all of your contacts within education and say, hey, we got a special going on for all schools right now, 20% off for, field trips, what have you. So definitely a good thing to keep in mind just from a strategic standpoint here within your saved leads and accounts. For those of you who are able to follow along for now, are there any questions? Is there anything that I could be more clear about or go over again? No? I'll take the silence as a no, but please do feel free to use me as a resource moving forward. Feel free to email me if there's something I could cover for you again. So I'll go back to my home page here. And now, again, I'm just seeing the top updates for my leads and accounts. And so top updates are things that are deemed as important to me based on my sales settings, my preferences, also my saved leads and accounts, and also how well received is the update that they've given. So, for example, I'm clicking on Matt Benberg's profile quite often nowadays. It's elevated when he posted something. And so you see, all these are opportune moments to reach out to people. I highly recommend coming into this each morning, maybe just 5-10 minutes, and don't dedicate too much time to it, but just going in here and see if there are any opportunities that you might be able to take advantage of. And then you can see that you can further filter your updates on the left-hand side here by the type, by the top account, recent, most important, whatever. And then in case you forget to save any of the information that you just searched, you can see your recently viewed and your recently searched information here. And so also on the homepage, you see this number here called your social selling index. And that's a number that we've kind of derived based on research that we did with the corporate executive board about what makes a good social selling strategy. So when I click on this, we'll see the 4 pillars that kind of make up a good selling strategy in using social tools like LinkedIn. And so I'm showing you this just so that you know, moving forward, how you might be able to improve on your strategy. And so these 4 things that are like the pillars that social selling stands on. Establish your professional brand. When I hover over the bar, you can see how you can go about establishing your professional brand on LinkedIn or using Sales Navigator. This is essentially having a well-built-out LinkedIn.com profile and make sure you're selling yourself and selling your company well. Finding the right people, this is making sure that how well are you using the lead builder, how well are you using paid searches and things like that. Engaging with insights, how often are you actually using the insights that we give you to reach out to people. And so this may not always be completely accurate because if you're using email addresses or phone numbers to use these insights, that obviously wouldn't show here. This is just kind of like shares and emails. And then building relationships is how well are you connected with your contacts in LinkedIn. So the last thing I want to show you guys is super, super helpful. I use this all the time myself, actually. When you go to the support in the top right-hand corner here, and you go to Learning Center, we have a lot of excellent resources so that you can further your knowledge on how to use the tool, and even just searching in general. So in the Find Learning tab here, I'll just click on this. You basically just have a keyword bar so that you can go about finding any information you like. So, for example, we just saw those things on social selling. So let's say, for example, your professional brand score was low. We have a little tip sheet here on how to build your sales profile. Or let's say, for example, you've been sending a lot of emails but they're not getting responses. We have a lot of email templates and best practices, things like that. How to use TinyTake for introductions, keyword modifiers. This is the Boolean search I was talking about. Just click on this so we can take a peek at it. And it'll bring up just a little one-pager on how to use the keyword search modifiers. For example, the quotes, the parentheses, capitalize and or not, things like that. So there's lots of great information in the Learning Center. I highly recommend taking a peek in there once you start getting dangerous with the tool. But that's about the gist of it. Again, I definitely do encourage you guys to use me as a resource. I'm here to help you make more deals, to close more sales at your various locations. I want to make sure I'm doing everything I can to help you guys develop a strategy that works for you and for your target market. Are there any questions so far? Is there anything I can make more clear for anyone? No, I do recognize that this is probably very difficult. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said I'm excited. It's a very, very powerful tool.
Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear it. I think so too. Honestly, I mean, we obviously, drink the Kool-Aid here. We we use our own tools, but honestly, I used this sales tool in my last job before coming to LinkedIn, and it's the reason that I wanted to come work here. I was like, this is really powerful. Like the insights that you get from this tool are really awesome. So excited that you're excited. And then for those of you, again, I do apologize for the connectivity issues, or if you weren't able to follow along for whatever reason, but I will definitely send you guys this recording. Please do watch it. And if you feel like you have more questions after that, Tim, feel free to share my information with the team so they can reach out, okay?
I will do.
All right, awesome. So I'll go ahead and end the recording now. So much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And wish you guys the best of luck in starting with your new sales tool.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one, guys.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oxford a profit-sharing plan